My name is Loyce Arthur, and I teach at the University of Iowa, and part of this conversation, this is an ongoing conversation that started with a class that I taught at the university with my colleagues Mark Bruckner and Chuck Connolly, who are here with us. And it came out of both the mural project that I hope people are keeping an eye on, that's going up on Burlington and Clinton Streets, the Oracles project, that was a response to George Floyd's murder last summer. One of the things that came up in conversation with fellow artists and faculty members and teachers was a mural is not enough. It's not enough to just put up a statement. And so then we started looking at what else, what is the situation for African Americans in Iowa City, and specifically if we're placing this mural downtown among black businesses, how many black businesses are there in Iowa City? What kind of visibility is there? What kind of issues do they encounter? What is the state of black business in Iowa City? So out of that came the Story Map project, which we interviewed many of you here in the room for the Story Map. So there's a story of where people talked about whatever they wanted to talk about connected to their business, how they started their business, what they wish they knew then that they know now. And so the QR code takes you to that map, which is an ongoing project that we will continue when we teach the class again in the spring of '22. So then also one of the things we wanted to do was to make sure that we would support what Summer of Arts has done for several years now, which is the Black Entrepreneurs Business Forum panel, and to broaden it out a little bit more. One of the things we found when we talked with business owners was they wanted to be able to network and come together at times to talk about common issues. And so that's also part of what this event is all about. So for format, so each of our guests here will talk for 8 minutes about their businesses, with a focus on challenges and successes. But feel free also to, whatever you'd like to say about your business. And that question again, what do you know now that you wish you had known when you started your business? And then we'll have a discussion with everyone here in the room, and talk about what is business, what is it like doing business in Iowa City, and what would you like to see in the future? Okay. In addition to our panelists, I want to introduce some of the folks that will be sitting at the tables for the second part of the event, which is just a networking, get-to-knowing kind of a situation. These are folks who were also involved in the Story Map project, who generously stepped up and were able to work with our students and be interviewed by them, and gave the students such a great response that they all came back extremely excited and really felt like they were connecting and getting to know folks here in Iowa City and what Iowa City is like, as well as eating Richard Rodney's food. I don't know if they got to Dunn coffee yet, DeAngelo. So we have Tasha Lard of JD Beauty Supply with us. and her business is over in the Pepperwood Plaza. Is Makis here? Not yet. Okay. Makis Johnson of Finer Streetwear Company will be joining us. Richard Rodney will be joining us of Rodney's Jamaican Jerk and Barbecue. Tracy John Sargent is with us of the Multicultural Development Center of Iowa, and has a great new project happening that hopefully you'll tell us about in our second half here. Bryson Croy from Hills Bank is not with us as yet. And Coach Emily and Coach Cliff from ICOR Boxing will be joining us. Is here. Coach Cliff is here. Great. Sorry about that, I didn't realize. And Samantha McSorley from Green State Bank is here with us. Okay. So to begin, I want to introduce Candace Boateng to you, the founder and creative director of I Heart Black Business. Excuse me. Candace Smith is a young entrepreneur on a mission to empower others. Growing up in Chicago, she attended and hosted many events that celebrated individuals' accomplishments and encouraged others to aspire to achieve similar goals. Candace attended the University of Iowa and held leadership roles in many organizations, included SWE, the Society of Women Engineers, and UIAA, the UIowa Alumni Association. Her leadership allowed her to connect with people of all ages and backgrounds and learn about their experiences. After graduating, she moved back to Chicago to begin her professional career. 1 year later, she relocated to Iowa. Recalling a lack of awareness and support during college for African American culture in Iowa, Candace decided to found I Heart Black Business. Through this event production and Decor company, Candace has pushed Eastern Iowa to embrace, celebrate, and cultivate Black culture and entrepreneurship. Candace.
Thank you
Take it away.
so much for that introduction. I'm Candace, the owner of I Heart Black Business, corporate event production and decor company, as Loyce has already said. Basically, we provide decor services for all social and corporate events. So if you have corporate meetings or trade shows, weddings, birthday parties, we provide decor for those events. But our passion is in the event production end. So we like to produce events that educate and entertain the community while also supporting and promoting Black-owned businesses. So everything that we do is going to be centered and highlighting local Black-owned businesses in the area. There is such a lack of awareness that exists out here, and if you just really open your eyes, you'll see you're actually surrounded by Black-owned businesses. And it's really disheartening to know that a lot of the local business organizations and the companies that are out here, even local government organizations, can't even name Black-owned businesses that have been down the street for them for many, many years. Also, those Black entrepreneurs that have been in these cities can't name those organizations that are claiming that they're there to help businesses in the area, to help develop entrepreneurship. They don't know each other, so in order to help those organizations as well as the entrepreneurs, we're here to actually bridge the gap between the community and the Black entrepreneurs. So all of our events, such as the Black Business Tour that's coming up on August 28th, they are there for the public to learn about the Black-owned businesses, and they're also there for the Black entrepreneurs to get to know each other. So we're also building a community of Black entrepreneurs so that we can support each other, get to know about each other's stories, and help our community grow. It's really difficult for you to try to inspire young people to become entrepreneurs when they don't see entrepreneurs succeeding. So our goal is to help those entrepreneurs succeed and to make us more prevalent in our communities. Our mission is really to level the playing field in terms of marketing and community reach. So if you hear an advertisement, which we don't, radio, TV, anything, we don't hear anything about black businesses in our communities. That's an issue. We should be hearing about them just as much as we hear about all the other companies that are out here. If we can hear a Hy-Vee commercial 6 times in an hour, we should be able to hear one black-owned business in there somewhere. And that's our mission. We can't have the advertising for our community if our community doesn't know that we exist out here. So again, our goal, such as the Black Business Tour, we're using that event to take the community members who are purchasing tickets for this event and actually bringing them to the physical black-owned businesses. Throughout 2020, after George Floyd's murder, we heard a lot of people saying, oh, we want to support black-owned businesses, but we don't know who they are. We don't know where they are. We don't know if they exist. Can somebody make a list for us? Can someone do all these other things because we want to support? Well, we're going to make it easy, so you can't give any more excuses. We have the transportation. We're taking them to the businesses. We're introducing them to the business owners. So there are no excuses. Either you want to support the black businesses or you don't. And you do, which is why we're here. So we're trying to bridge that gap so that the community members are aware that these businesses exist. They can support them when they get to make those connections with the business owners. They're actually establishing memories. They're creating experiences. So they can't just say, hey, you should go to this business. They have a cool product. You should say, go see this person. The owner here is really cool. You should hear about their stories. So now they're going to spend more than just 2 minutes to go look through the shelves and find something. They're actually going to go there to experience what it's like being a part of this person's journey. Now they're not just supporting the business or the company, they're supporting the entrepreneur behind it and the goals that they're trying to reach. One thing that was very common amongst all the black entrepreneurs that I've thus far been able to meet with is that they're not creating the businesses to make a profit. They're not creating it because they love the products that they're making or that they're selling. They have this business, but the reason they're creating this business is to make an impact in their community. They're not just opening up the door, selling something, and then closing it and going home. They're all involved in the community. They're all doing extracurricular activities. I mean, it's not like a 9-to-5 job. These people are really here to make an impact. They're trying to grow the community, grow the economy, and inspire other people to improve their neighborhoods. So you may see a black-owned business move on your block, but once they move in, it's not just going to be a shop. You're going to notice there's going to be new events happening. There's going to be new organizations being founded. There's going to be new things happening to bring the people in those neighborhoods together. And that's what I Heart Black Business is celebrating. We're highlighting the entrepreneurs behind the brands and the companies that are here, because without them and the heart and the drive that they have to keep pushing forward, even while having to battle all the trials and the hurdles that they're going through, because they do exist. Being an entrepreneur and being a black entrepreneur are two completely different things. The journey is not the same. All the black entrepreneurs have different challenges that other entrepreneurs do not have. So beyond just creating a business, they're also fighting these challenges on a daily basis. They're also trying to encourage other people to get in their shoes, which is challenging because people see the troubles and the problems that they're going through. And yet they're still smiling, they're still opening their business every day, they're still promoting and supporting all the other people that are out here in their neighborhoods and their communities. So I Heart Black Business is really passionate about highlighting these entrepreneurs and these businesses. We want them to grow. We want other people to recognize the impact that they have. If every black-owned business in Johnson County shut down, you would notice. You would definitely notice. You don't notice them while they're here, but if they were gone, the whole city would be completely different. And we're here to tell you why that is. We really love that there are some companies out there. So for instance, our Black Business Tour, shameless plug, is sponsored by Green State. They're one of the very few companies that are out here that was willing to support black-owned businesses and their growth. So we're really thankful for their contribution. But they're one of only 2 companies who even thought to believe that Black-owned businesses could grow, that they're worth being supported, that they're worth being highlighted and promoted out here. That's another issue. So we have to continue to support each other and ourselves and build ourselves up until we get to the point where other larger companies and organizations and the community members at large can regularly support and promote Black-owned businesses as well. And that's our goal.
Thank you, Candace. Andre Perry, to Candace's left, is the executive director of the Englert Theater. He is a writer and arts worker based in Iowa City. His debut nonfiction book, Some of Us Are Very Hungry Now, was hailed by NPR as, quote, extraordinary, and by Forward called him, quote, a fresh American voice that demands to be heard, end quote. He was published in The Believer, Catapult, Granta, The Paris Review, Guernica, and other journals. He also co-founded Iowa City's Mission Creek Festival, a celebration of music and literature, as well as the multidisciplinary Festival of Creative Process, Witching Hour. He participated in the inaugural cohort of the Association for Performing Arts Professionals Leadership Fellows program, and later returned as group leader for Cohort 3. He currently serves as the executive director of the Englert Theater in Iowa City, Iowa.
Hey everyone, how's it going? It's good to be here with y'all. It's good to be here with y'all. Thanks for the introduction, Loyce. So, just an honor to be here, and I know that the times continue to be a little bit weird, so it's nice that we can gather, even if briefly, to have this conversation before we go back to wherever we're hiding out during this difficult period in our country and in the world. I'll try to keep it brief. So what's interesting here is actually the organization that I'm representing. I'm actually not the owner, right? You know, this is a nonprofit organization, so I'm just at the service of the board. I'm at the service of the organization, the service of the community that we're in, Iowa City. And so my work really is, it comes from maybe a slightly different angle. When I think of the companies that I work for, the organizations that I work for, the boards that I serve on, it might seem like really boring work or really detailed, kind of not fancy or flashy work, but I'm all about shifting institutions by getting values changed and written and codified in bylaws, codified in mission statements, codified in the policies and programmatic policies of an organization. That's really what my work is to do, so that foundations remain even after visionary or excellent people move on, right? It's to make sure that an institution continues to grow and serve its community, just whoever's there, you know, whoever the leadership might be, whoever the support team might be. And so specifically what that means is that the Englert Theater, we are continually revisiting our mission, vision, and values, or not continually, but often going back to our bylaws and going back to our policies for the organization. And so if you see, for example, a festival like Mission Creek Festival, which is putting performers, it's putting writers on stages, supporting those folks, you know, you might see a pretty representative, like if I think about race, ethnicity, and other cultural identities, you might see quite a diversity on the stages or on the line of that program. But behind the scenes, we're writing policy that would dictate to any programmer what the balance that you're looking for to make sure that there's representation. So if we go to something like race and ethnicity, we look at the ethnicity of Iowa City among adults. It's about 75% white, about 25% people of color, and then we look at the Iowa City Community School District, which is a different number. It's more like 55% white, 45% people of color, and we say that we need to fall within that range because that's representative of where our community is today and where we are going and who we're going to be in about 15 or 20 years, and that's what we need to show when we do this festival. So it's stuff like that that I work on. I also serve on the board for Green State Credit Union, and you know, much kudos to the CEO, Jeff Disterhoff, who I think is taking very seriously what it means to reinvest in all communities, in particular, I would say Black communities and other communities of color in Iowa, and particularly where we are right now. And so, as people know, Green State made an announcement. They're going to do $500 million of investment in terms of mortgages that they're going to be giving out to Black residents in their membership, right? And so that's like a great thing to like say. It's like makes headlines, it's big press and all that, but really the details are guiding Jeff, his team, and Zach Walls, who's a big part of that effort as well, in trying to figure out what are ways that we can ensure it's not just getting more people to apply for mortgages, but what is keeping people from being denied, or how are people being denied now? How can we just increase the amount of acceptance of mortgage applications that are coming through? And so all this stuff seems like super boring, and it's like really details, and it's like, how do we change how a credit rating happens, and how can we have a more holistic view of how someone might be able to support and continue to own a piece of property and grow it, or to get a commercial loan and push it forward. But that's the stuff that, just from my corner, that I believe like creates the long-term change, because you get these things codified. And so I love Jeff, but if Jeff retires or something, it means the next leader comes in, the next senior leaders who come in. These are the policies that guide how the institution works. And so it's all that values-based work where it's at. And I'll just give one more example, and then we'll move on. I also serve on the board for Arts Midwest, which is the regional arts organization, basically representing Midwestern arts organizations. And so it's kind of like a sub-organization of the National Endowment for the Arts in that sense. And the CEO there, Tori Allen, I believe, he's the first Black CEO of that organization, representing Iowa, Minnesota, the Dakotas, and a lot of other states that are around us. And they often have to re-grant dollars that are given by foundations, given by the NEA, and they have to figure out, how do we get this into communities? And again, they'll make announcements, hey, we're doing $15 million in grants and things like that, and those make the headlines. But it's that behind the scenes work of how do we make sure that it's written down in the policies of the organization so that those dollars are getting to communities that need them, whether it's into artists' pockets or into organizations' pockets, so they can continue to do the mission-based work that is pushing them forward. And so I'll wrap up there, but I think in a nutshell what I'm trying to say is I'm not so much a business owner, but I'm very interested in helping businesses determine their values and get them down on paper so that the work can actually continue over a long-term period of time. Thanks.
Our next panelist is Erin Mushikuru, who is the CEO of Invigorating Services in Cedar Rapids. And her statement says, with almost 15 years experience in human services field, I have the honor to learn, exercise, and practice the skills I've obtained over time while continuously growing my knowledge bank and skill set. I attribute the success of my journey to having had the opportunity to work for and with many different direct care companies in the corridor, giving me hands-on training and truly preparing me for the launch of my own company, Invigorating Services. Erin.
Hi. Okay, so this is my first time public speaking, so bear with me. So I started this business because I have a child who's autistic. And I noticed while working at all the other agencies that it is hard watching a person of color being taken care of by someone who's not looking like them. They are mistreated. And then in the Black community, it's like, oh, they're just a little funny, and so I decided to start this business because I saw that and I wanted to make a change, and I wanted to be the change. And so I have had people who come into my services and are like, when I was at the last group home I was at, they didn't treat me with respect and they just treated me like a wild animal. And so I was like, well, that's not okay. And so we make them feel comfortable in our services. And then we've had a guy with us for a while, and he's like, this is the longest he's been in a service where he feels comfortable, where he can be himself, and he gets the respect he needs, and he's actually progressing in life versus regressing. And so that's a huge accomplishment for us. We also provide non-emergency transportation throughout the state of Iowa. So we provide transportation to and from hospital visits, or let's say someone is unable to make it to work, but they want to live and sustain life. So we take them to work or to like medical appointments, hair appointments, grocery shopping, to a movie, so just so they can be a part of the community and live life to the fullest like we do every day. And so I don't think this is going to be 8 minutes, you guys. Some challenges that I have overcome is when I go into a room, I'm probably the only person of color in the room. It's been like that. I've been in this business for over 10 years, and it's either one or two people of color in the room. So, and now as a face and owner, I only know one other owner doing this same thing, and he is my mentor. And so that says something, because in the Black community, we sometimes don't want to promote other businesses. And so when you have one who has the exact same business as yours, and they're like, I'm going to help you succeed, that's what I want to do as well, help others like myself succeed. Because we can, there's money in the pot for everybody. It's not just about money, it's about helping and caring for one another. And so that's my spill, guys.
Thank you, Erin. DeAngelo Seay, Sr., is co-owner and operator of Dunn Brothers Coffee. They opened their first location in January 2018 with the help of his in-laws, Tommy and Gilly, Calcagno, who are silent partners, the one I didn't check. Their second location will be opening late fall of this year in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. DeAngelo is a 1995 graduate from Keokuk Senior High School. He attended Kirkwood Community College in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, as well as Southeastern Community College in Keokuk, Iowa. DeAngelo's major was business management, and he's been working in that field for the last 14 years. He gives glory to God first for the success of the business. He also notes their 10 children are their inspiration to step out in faith and achieve all that God has in store for them. His motto is, quote, walking in purpose on purpose, end quote.
Thank you. Thank you. It's an honor to be here. As Candice spoke in regards to, I didn't even know much about the Englert Theater. I've never been there. There's still a lot of people that I'm meeting that are business owners, and I've been here going on 4 years in our business now. So I am thankful for Summer of the Arts, because different events like this has given me the opportunity to meet some people that I probably might not have met for another 3 or 4 years. So I'm very honored to be here. For us, as I'm speaking on behalf of my wife and my in-laws who are silent partners, it started out initially with, I would say, bad choices on my own, and the lack of faith and the lack of ability to reach out and start your own business. Coming from Keokuk, Iowa, that's 4% Black, so I've always had to prove myself from a young age. So even when I initially, in 2014, me and my wife started thinking about opening a business. But immediately, I was thinking about, okay, where is the funds going to come from? I don't come with a family with a lot of income. Are we going to be accepted here? Is it going to grow? Are we going to have customers? Is it going to be a family business? There's just so many things that you wrestle with back and forth that slows you down. And at one point, I just said, well, we're going to step out in faith. You make that, and we made that first step, and it's amazing how God has aligned everything else up. And my life experiences and her life experiences, which is not related to Dunn Brothers, is now being used in a greater way to help us be better owners, better managers. of what we, like I said, started off in faith. I have 10 children, 5 grown, 5 under. So you got to make this much just to live on this much, as you can imagine. And I got to add quickly, my son at the time was 17, asked me a very great question, and I knew it was a powerful question. So I was taken back at a moment and thought, how am I going to answer this question? The question was this: okay, Father, what if this doesn't work? Meaning the Dunn brothers. Because keep in mind, me and my wife, we're both at Dunn brothers. So if it doesn't work, we're both starting over. And when he asked me that, being 17, initially I was like, okay, I have to answer this, in a profound way that's going to make an impact. And what I told him was, which is the truth, is I don't spend time thinking about how it won't work, because I'm using that time to think about how it does work. And son, if it doesn't work, then I'm going to show you how to step out in faith to do what you believe in and how to rebound even if it doesn't work. And then I thank God. Thank God that, it's happened that way and we've been successful where November of this year we'll be opening our 2nd location in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. What Dunn Brothers stands for us is offering a fresh roasted coffee, fresh food. Our staple is everything is fresh. I don't look at Starbucks or any of the others as competition, because I can't focus on trying to keep up with them. I'm just trying to master and do the best of what I have. And for me, if I'm at Iowa City, I go to the Iowa City McDonald's, or wherever I'm at in the community, I go to that location that's close to there. So I don't want people to stop going to Starbucks, just come to Dunn Brothers. No, there's enough for everybody. You can have it all. But when you do come, I can promise you it's going to be great service. It's going to be great quality food. You're going to have a great experience, and hopefully you come back, or hopefully you tell a friend. We try to reach out in the community as much as possible. Thankfully, we've been able to do a couple things with the Summer of the Arts. We have our coffee at the concession stands. We do triathlons, races, held chess tournaments, art tournaments. Not art tournaments, art classes at the Dunn Brothers. So we're always thinking of ways to reach out and be supportive in the community. Through the pandemic, that was a huge challenge. My wife had a baby in January. She was on maternity leave in March, and that same year is when COVID hit. But it was also a blessing, and the reason why that was is, yeah, she came back to work early because we had to lay off some people. But we were able to set up the back area for kids, and there was nobody that was able to come in the store, so you couldn't hear kids crying or anything, And when you deal with customers, even though it was challenging, that some people only got out just to come to the Dunn Brothers to get that coffee that's going to help them throughout the day and deal with their challenges, I didn't have a chance to worry about myself, because I knew I could be that only person that they are speaking with that day. And I think our success, and I know numbers-wise, has went up tremendously just from that experience of slowing down in the drive-thru, being able to talk to people and give them some hope. And I've spoke to more people about God in the drive-thru during that time than I had before. And what's crazy, it wasn't me initiating that conversation majority of the time. So I can be long-winded. So to sum it up is, I'm thankful for events and opportunities like this. This is how it comes about. This is how it gets done. And even if you're nervous, be willing to step up, even though, because when I tell my children, you're going to be nervous. You can do it 5, 10 times. But still step up, and you'll be surprised on how, just by you taking that first step, how things will line up. So that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all. And see, this is just some of the great stories that we had there on the map that we thought were really important for people to know the people behind these businesses and what inspires them and what moves them and that is part of what one is doing when one is serving the community, working in the community, being part of a community, is important stories to share. So with that, I want to open it up to all of you for any kind of questions or comments that you might have. Yep, go ahead, Cliff.
I have a question for you. I was wondering, do you guys go out to events and set up for just having everything ready for people at different events all over?
Yes. A lot of time we have requests, but then because we're a franchise and we have the freedom, since we're individually owned, I reached out to do that chess tournament. I reached out to have artwork displayed in the shop that the local artists can have their painting or picture, or whatever they have, displayed there and sell them from the wall. And that's kind of how I met Awesome Terry, wherever she's at. But yeah, we have that ability to do that, and I heard that you do boxing. So I would love to have some dialogue with you in regards to maybe see if we can do something there, as well as anybody else that is out there listening. Thank you.
One of the things I wanted to mention also is that there are almost 100 businesses on the story map and the ICCD project website across Johnson County. So as Candace has said, there are a lot of businesses out there that people don't know about, and so making sure that that happens, and that map also continues to grow, that project continues to grow, is really important. But also I think, and maybe Tracy, you can talk to this a little bit, that interconnection so that all of those businesses can connect to one another and keep growing, I think is really important. Anything else you want to add?
Sure. I mean, I love this. Obviously, we wish that there were more people here, but the commonality in what we've heard from the panelists is what we all experience every day. And it's there is no zero-sum game, right? Tasha, one of the things I learned the first time I met her was this concept of the crab bucket mentality. And that's where, in the Black community, people are tearing someone down because they think it's got to be all about them getting their thing. And the selflessness that I see and hear here is amazing, and it's what we try to model ourselves after. So for us, we're simply trying to figure out how we can do more to support us as a community, right? The word unity is in community, but we don't, I don't feel that, I don't see that. And I'm a little bit of an outsider, I've only been here for 10 years, but I've, like you, have met some amazing people, but it still seems like we're very siloed, right? So we're just trying to bring everything back together. So our BIPOC Business Accelerator program is really to address all marginalized people, right? I identify as a Black man, and I'd love to just focus on that, but there are a lot of other people that are not Black, but they're not white, that could also use that help. And I think that strength, and when we come together as one community of color, is really powerful. And I think the ARPA money that is available, one of the reasons we started the collective was because we didn't want, to your point, Candace, about people in agencies that don't know about this Black business and that Black business doesn't know about that agency. How do they know what those needs are? They don't, because they don't even know that they exist. And so what we've been working at for the last few months is to bring us all together so that we can make one proposal to the city and to the county and say, this is how we think you should use these federal dollars that are going to be available. And so we need to do more of this networking. We need people to get on board, and we need to have one voice, right? It's one tribe at the end of the day. And if we can all come together, that unity, I think, will really start to show some results in our community.
Amen.
Anyone else want to jump in? Tasha, your name was called.
Thanks, Tracy.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did, I'm the owner of JD Beauty couple months was the diversity market. What the diversity market entailed was, in my store, I allowed all business owners, small business owners, to come in and put a business card in that corner so they can say who they are, what they do, what services they provide. Oh, okay. What services they provide. I allow them to come in to do that. And when I do live videos on Facebook, I promote those same business owners in that corner. The diversity market was that business corner come to life. It was over 30 vendors at that diversity market. And it grew. And they said, start small, Tasha. I don't know what that is, unfortunately. So now that we had those 30 vendors, we have a waiting list for an additional 30 more vendors. And they were all Black business owners. I will, as a business owner, continue to promote those business owners so that they can grow in that community. And that was my thing. Someone asked me, why did you open a beauty supply store? I didn't do it because I like the hair or the products, and like Candace said, or I love them. I did it because I wanted to promote a community. I wanted to open it because there wasn't anything in the community for us. So that's why I decided to open a beauty supply store, so that people, women, men, children, wouldn't have to travel from home miles and miles away to get those products to take care of their hair. As a mother of 4, everyone in my household hair texture is different. I couldn't get those products at Walgreens and Walmart because theirs was locked up, and fortunately they decided to unlock them because theft, but whatever. I didn't want to keep driving to Chicago to get those products. And I know that I wasn't the only woman that felt that way in the community. And so I wanted to open something for everyone so they can come in. So when people come into the store, it's just not them buying a product. It's me having a conversation about, well, what do you do? Do you have a business? Bring a card. If you walk dogs, I don't care, bring a card, because somebody may want a dog walker. So again, it goes to promoting each other, and I don't want that to stop. That's something that has to continue in the Black community. And Tracy, you're right, it's the crab in the bucket mentality, where the crawfish in the bucket, crawfish in the bucket mentality. If you see a crawfish, they're going to stand on top of each other. But once that first crawfish gets over the top, the one at the bottom is going to pull it back down. We can't have that in the Black community. It needs to stop. We want to promote each other. I'm going to continue to promote each other. The diversity market was the first annual diversity market, and it will be a second, and a third, and a fourth. Because again, I want to promote those business owners, the small business owners, so that people know who they are and where they come from, and know their stories. That's all I have.
Panelists or anyone, where do you see the future for Black businesses in Iowa? It can be what needs to be done, or are you feeling, excuse me, is there general optimism with everyone?
I say I'm optimistic in terms of the conversations and the progress that I Heart Black Business has been doing. So right now we're heavily centered on developing that Black entrepreneurs community. So we have a meeting that's happening on August 14th for all you Black business owners out there. We want all the Black business owners to come together, get to know each other, have conversations about what that current state of business is like. We have entrepreneurs that are coming out from Cedar Rapids. We have some from Iowa City. We have some from Norfolk Liberty. We want to meet each other. We want to get to know each other. And we want to talk about business. Because in order for changes to be made, we have to work together. And there are lots of entrepreneurs that actually want the same thing. We just don't know each other. So if we can actually come together and have those conversations, we can really make something happen. We are extremely strong. We have really good numbers. We just don't realize it. So I'm optimistic because I know that this is going to happen. We're going to meet each other. We're going to talk. And our community is going to get stronger. We don't have to be dependent on people outside of our community if we actually choose to support each other and do it authentically. And I believe that's going to happen within the next year. So I'm excited to see what all of our communities will look like across Johnson County and Cedar Rapids in the next year, because it's going to be different. It's not going to be where we need to be, but it's going to be much better than it is right now.
I am very optimistic as well. Prior to maybe 6 months prior to the pandemic, we started talking about a second location. And then if people can't go to restaurants, why would you continue to go in that direction? Why not take it safe and sit back and relax? We'll see what happens and then go from there. But the ball actually started rolling during the pandemic. So if we're opening up in November and there's so much work ahead, which is about 2 years on average, we still stayed optimistic, staying on path to do what we believe that God is telling me to do, and she ended walking in purpose, on purpose. What that means is being intentional. In order for us to grow, we just have to be intentional. And I think some growth can also come, as me and he was speaking, in regards to us getting together. It can be smaller, venues just to keep something going. And I think we have to be intentional on that, because if he's waiting for me to call him, I'm waiting on him to call me, we'll be at an event in 6 months or a year, and be like, oh yeah, we still should do that. Or be that person to be intentional about reaching out. Glad to hear about your corner. I don't have anything there yet, but I'm gonna be intentional on getting that ASAP. And that's part of being inclusive and supporting.
I would say that I'm cautiously optimistic. Fine. So I'm cautiously optimistic because I know that there's a lot of work being done and we have great allies. And I think allyship has really improved in our community over the last year and a half. However, I still see some organizations that I think are fearful of not being relevant if they allow Black-owned businesses to take the lead. There are still some organizations in this community that want to continue to be the one leading, or at least being the one representing the needs of the community, but they're not close to the problem. And I think that the solution to the problem is usually identified by those that are closest to it. And so I think the Black community can, take that lead and be the ones to decide how we're going to use, these funds, what is actually needed to support these Black-owned businesses, and not be so dependent on some of the legacy organizations that have positioned themselves to do that. So I think if we all come together and we show that strength and that unity, I think that's where we'll start to see some change. So I'm cautiously optimistic that that will actually happen.
I was just going to add, as an ally, I'm optimistic when I hear Englert Theater and you making the systematic and changes in the background, especially I used to work at Green State, so I'm not at all surprised by Jeff's decision to do some of the things that he's done. But when I hear you saying that you're making the changes in the bylaws and so that can continue, to me, those are the types of things, allyship, that has to change so that we can better support communities of color. So yeah, that's all I was going to add on the allyship.
And I'll just add that I've seen an increase in people being willing to leverage their privilege. I think of Travis, who's not here, and Mark, and the rest of the people that put this program together. They've stepped up, right, and they leveraged their privilege to really help the rest of us so that we can have a voice and not have to ask for permission, right? So I appreciate them using that platform, but we need to see a lot more of that. We need to see people using their privilege to make these changes.
Pass that to Cliff. I think, Cliff, you have a relatively new business.
Well, technically our business has been around since 2000. I joined in myself around 2013, but it was a different type of business then. It was just a smaller kind of just room gym. but I had a vision that I wanted the gym to grow and expand out to everyone and make sure that everyone loves boxing as much as I do. I'm from Philadelphia myself. My father had me boxing I started at around 12 or so. He had his own career himself beforehand and bodybuilding and everything like that. So I kind of grew up in the gym environment, and in growing up in the gym environment, I got to witness, a lot of positivity come from that type of environment. For kids who don't have a lot, you can still keep yourself in shape and work hard and look good and do everything you want to do, and the sky's the limit. It's really up to you on how far you want to push yourself, and that was the mentality that my father instilled in me, which eventually led me to joining into the Marine Corps. And when I joined the Marine Corps, I took a lot of good leadership qualities there, and camaraderie and working together, just teamwork in general. And I took all these aspects, and I just wanted to bring it right here to Iowa City through boxing. I've just watched people grow and get better in general throughout my entire lifetime being involved with boxing. So I felt like to push it a little bit further now, especially now when times have been the way they have, I think it's important. We deal with people of all backgrounds, no matter what, as well. Even if you have, we're dealing with people with Parkinson's as well, who are fighting against Parkinson's disease, and that's one of the things that made me think of your service as well. And I just see so many connections on how we all can kind of unify together and push forward. But I would like to just make sure that we are a community service for the community, that the community is able to reap a lot of multiple different benefits from, not just boxing. So that's all I really have for it.
Thank you. So I'm really not a speaker. I rarely speak, but just due to the way this setting is very intimate, my name is Michael, and I support my wife with I Heart Black Business, and I support every other business here too. And to be frank, I think I've been to all the businesses out here. I love your breakfast sandwiches, by the way. Big ups to that. Phenomenal businesses out here, phenomenal. A++ businesses, and there's as Candace and the rest said, there's no reason that these businesses shouldn't get airtime, and everybody else shouldn't know these businesses just as much as the other businesses that are domesticated within our minds. And so I just want to say that, I know, excuse me, what's your name again? I'm sorry.
Loyce.
Loyce. I know Loyce said, the hordes are coming in later, but I don't think I don't think that should be the central focus of this. I think at the end of the day, what we're doing right here, regardless of the numbers, is very powerful, and it touched me because unity amongst our people is so important. Some people like to say that things happened so long ago, but I have grandparents and I have people that remember how things were just a couple years back to me, and they're still alive, and I'm just so proud of the successes that we have been able to come up as a people and that we still do as a people. So numbers don't matter to me. It's the inertia, it's the thought of, getting that coffee and coming here and supporting Black-owned businesses through all that we've been through. I was just taking a survey earlier about the Tulsa, Oklahoma riots, right? And I found out that most people didn't even know that the riots occurred throughout, most of their lives. Most people, at least within my age group, only found out about that during college, But this is something so devastating. It's like the whole of Chicago getting burned to the ground. How can this not be part of the history? You know, a successful Wall Street, a black Wall Street being burned to the ground, you know. And so things like that have happened throughout history, and, you know, these are certain challenges, you know, and right now in our geographical location here in Iowa, black businesses are facing challenges, and I feel touched that we always overcome, and you know, we have that the things are dying out, you know, even with the crab in the barrel mentality. At the end of the day, you know, older generations are, you know, that's why I feel hopeful, because older generations, they're gonna die out, you know, and the kids, I look at the kids and what do you would call them, Generation Z or whatever, they're different from me, they're different from us, you know, and the way they're gonna come up, their mindset is gonna change, you know, even with this cryptocurrency and all that's going on, like things are gonna flip 360, you know. And so just keep doing what you're doing, and I believe that what's going on right now here in the Midwest, we're trailblazing something. You know, it's not as you know, dominant as what's going on in probably the West or the East, but we're still trailblazing something, and we're putting our names on something. And at the end of the day, networking. That's why this is very important, because networking is that unheard commodity that needs to be stressed upon, because you may think that you can do it on your own, but there's more power within uniting with your people, uniting with people that have gone through the same struggles as you, that look like you, and with allies too, that support your same cause, I assume, you know, and boosting yourself up, you know, because at the end of the day, there might be a black Jeff Bezos here that we don't know, but you have impacted him and touched him to that extent. And, you know, one more thing that I'll say about networking is, you know, I know a lady was having some issues with her landlord, and I was surprised, because sometimes it's not really about the masses. Like sometimes it's about the nucleus. You know, it's about the nucleus that affects the masses. You know, and sometimes, like I was quite intrigued by how within some of the greater establishments within I would say the white community, their networking was very tight. I thought it was very sparse, or it was spread out, but actually it was just one or two, three people that called the shots for many people. And I found this out, and I was very intrigued by it. So sometimes it's not about, you know, everybody. Sometimes it's about, you know, the people that have the same minds, that want to network and that want to come together and that want to build something together. So even the force of just you four up there can impact millions, just the force of you four, you know. And so I just always want to, you know, to have that mindset. Sorry for being long-winded. Thank you.
Raina Harmon, who is on the committee, along with Creighton Gaynor, who you met at the front. Registration is on the Soulfest committee, and as part of all the discussions that we were having here. Did you have a comment? I wanted you to also talk about growing your business on the internet.
Oh, sure. How you guys doing? I was trying to stay off the mic, wearing many hats here today. If you guys came out to the block party last night, I was emceeing that, and then I'll be emceeing the live artist today. So trying to preserve my voice a little bit. We're going to be going long. But I am on... mention your real job. Yeah, I'm also an assistant women's basketball coach here at the University of Iowa. Serve on the board of the Summer of the Arts and with the Soul and Blues Fest Committee, and I am CEO, entrepreneur of Unified Ballers, which is an athletic sportswear company. I do not have a brick and mortar store because I got too many things going on. But it's been interesting to see my company grow throughout the pandemic. So I started in August of 2018. And kind of slow going, as I don't know anything about running electronic business, right? And so a lot of digital marketing, and just trying to find my niche out there. Now, me being in the sports world, that's helpful a little bit, being on the road recruiting and seeing what these young athletes want to wear. But to try to get the name out has been interesting. And I would say the murder of George Floyd and then the pandemic, kind of when the world shut down and everybody was centrally focused on a few things, is actually when my company took a boom. So I think time and place and selling a good product. And so the first thing that really took off for our company is I created a mask right after the death of George Floyd that said it's time to unify. So we all needed masks. Most people started to want masks with a message. And the company name is Unified Baller, so it was kind of a play on words. And I mean, that was one of the great products for us, and it really did a boom with bringing people to the company to get eyes on other products. As I said, I'm a basketball coach, and as we reached the Final Four this year, we had another black female that was a head coach, so University of Arizona. They made it to the championship game, and so I created a shirt that had the 5 black women that had led their team to the Final Four. I actually ended up getting permission from all 5 women to produce this shirt. And then that actually topped the mask in terms of bestsellers, which is also, lent itself to bring more eyes to the company. So I've been learning a lot in this space. YouTube is free and it's great in terms of just learning how to, take photography at home. How much inventory do you carry? How do you produce shirts? Do you make them yourself or screen printing? But I would like to connect with you guys and just learn how I can get more dollars. So maybe I can start hiring people to help me grow this company. But it's my contribution to today. So thank you guys for coming. We appreciate you guys being here. Thank you.
I'm so excited to be here and see all these beautiful faces. I have the pleasure to have very deep conversations with many of you. And my name is Miriam Alarconavilla. I'm an immigrant, Mexican immigrant. I'm a visual artist and a photographer. And I joined the class when Loyce, Mark, and Chuck, and I really opened my mind. The fact that I immigrated here to Iowa back in 2002. I love to say this story because it's really a marker point in my life. We arrived in the Martin Luther King morning, my kids and I, to pursue education. And when I came and I started to walk through the University of Iowa streets, I find out that the school was not having classes. The many government organizations, they was closed because they was celebrating this incredible life of these incredible, amazing men, black men. But when I start to walk through Iowa City and I start to look around, where is the color, where is the black? I could not see it anywhere. I was amazed that this very progressive city was lacking of color. As a Latino immigrant, I experienced many adventures of discrimination, just like black people. And through these adventures, I learned to unify with my brothers and sisters and start to work in giving voice to immigrants, to minorities. And having joined this class and hearing the adventures of all of you and see the incredible, powerful stories, the great courage, love, commitment. Many of us were working more than one job and we're still fighting for have a place in the table. I just wanna say everyone, I'm very optimistic. I'm very optimistic because back in 2002 when I get here, I don't see any color. Today I'm seeing a lot of color. And that is so beautiful beautiful to my eyes and beautiful to my ears. And I want to remind all of you that in your Latino community, you have brothers and sisters. We pass for the same issues, we lack the same things, and we can help each other. So I'm so beautiful, thankful to see all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Loyce, Chuck, Mark, Travis, to open my eyes to a reality that is much beautiful now. Thank you.
Is there one last comment or question? And then we can just open it up to individual conversations, however people see fit. Our bank representatives, anything you'd like to share with us?
I have nothing to share, but this has been eye-opening. It's fantastic. We are so lucky at Free State Tap Andre to be a part of bringing ideas. You know, our constant concern is what more can we do? Where are we missing the mark? So I think we're making some great headway. And sorry, now I'm almost done. We're making some great headway, and I think that I'm very excited about the future. I think we're heading in the right direction. So I just appreciate everyone and the time that everyone took to come speak today. So thank you.
Okay, so thank you all very much. Thank you to our panelists. And hopefully we'll have a little more conversation here. One of the reasons we were passing around the mic is because this is being filmed, so we will be able to share it with others and keep the reach going. So as I mentioned, we want to continue to grow the Story Map project and use that as a resource for people to connect to one another. And I'm already thinking, and I think my colleagues are probably also thinking of more ways that this can be even more interactive and more of a networking and a service site. And I know Tracy John's site and business also is very much about connecting and networking, and you heard from Candace. And so we just also need to keep pushing that part of things as well. So thank you all for coming.